All right, we have a quorum. All right, meeting will start 10:04. The first on the agenda is the minutes, May 3rd. Motion, please.
So moved. Ted Els.
Second. Second.
Berquist will second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Pass. Okay, that's May 3rd. Excuse me. August 29th. Looking for a motion?
So moved. Ted Els.
Second.
Berquist will second.
Third,
Discussion?
no.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Oppose? Pass. Out of state CE Eisenberg. I sent a copy of that account to me. Apparently it was not sent to us through the department. But what it is that, Jill, can you hear me? Jill? Jill Conklin?
Yes, Ben, I'm here. Sorry, I couldn't get my mouse out of my sleeve.
Jill, and I assume he's currently licensed,
Um,
Mr. Eisenberg?
Slide loading.
Oh, it's the public one.
Oh, the real estate commission?
Yeah. Oh, I don't want to hear what they have to say about the
No.
deposit thing.
Are you?
Are you, okay?
what do you want me to
What
find,
he's
Ben?
looking- What he's looking for is elective courses. This is a reciprocal individual. He's in New Jersey. It does not cover Connecticut mandatory though, but he's looking for 3 courses. All of them are with Jeff Weiss, certified. He's certified. One is for understanding appraisal. The other one is the code of ethics. The third is fair housing. And I have no trouble with these 3 courses for electives. I just want to make sure I see. Joe, is he properly licensed?
I don't even, what's his license number? Because I don't even, is he on the agenda? I don't even see him
I
on
do have
here.
license. 218 7358. That could be a New Jersey license.
Yeah, that's not his license. What's his name?
His name is David Eisenberg. EYZENBERG.
Spell that again, or just,
Yeah, it's inactive. Actually-
EYZENBERG.
He
okay,
has a
sorry.
broker's license.
Let me look for him.
He has a broker's license, it looks like.
Hang on one second.
But you said, Amy, it was inactive?
No, there's an old one that's inactive. It looks like there was a currently active broker's license. I think the other one was an inactive salesperson's license.
In what state?
New Jersey.
Well, no, I mean, I'm looking at the Connecticut license lookup. And there is a David Eisenberg who has a REB license, which has been licensed. He's a broker designee for a legal entity.
Hang on,
I
I'm
don't know
pulling
when
it up right now. I
It
can,
doesn't say when it started from, but it's active and it shows a Key Biscayne address.
he's got 2 different entities, so hold on. Not active.
The reason I'm saying he's probably active in New Jersey, okay, because of,
He is active. He is active. He's active under the Eisenberg and Company LLC,
okay.
which is, yeah. He just renewed.
I didn't see his name on the agenda anywhere, so I can't see
It's on-
anything.
It's
It's
under
It's
old
under old
business.
business.
Oh, okay.
Can I ask a clarifying question? And this is actually going to be for all of the items under number 2. When we're considering continuing education elective courses for people that get equivalency waivers, is there anything in the statute which indicates what those course subjects need to cover or should cover? Because I know for required courses that the education committee set up, there was like 6 or 7 groupings of things that continuing, like the required education should fall under. Is there a similar outline for just elective CE?
I don't think-
There are, in the regulations,
Yeah.
there are a listing of topics. And, so if you go to the CE page, there's a link to the regulations. It says generally accepted courses may include, but shall not be limited to things like fair housing, ethics, finance, appraisal, da, 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 da.
Okay.
But it starts by saying that shall not approve offerings in mechanical office and business skills, such as typing, speed reading, memory development, personal motivation, and stuff like
Okay.
that.
The only reason I ask is because when we get to this other list of folks, there are some classes, like when you look at the titles of them, that don't necessarily seem relevant. So I just wanted to understand if there is like a descriptor of what we should be following. Thank you.
Yeah, and we when they do submit courses for your review, we do tell them we need more than the certificate. We need course content info, because you can't tell by the title.
Okay, so the other thing I would like to point out is there is a FAQ on the DCP website that says only CE certificates need to be submitted. So whenever people are emailing your office asking for things, sometimes the lady that was responding would say you should include the syllabus or a course outline. But if you go to the actual DCP website, which she linked to in one of her emails, the FAQ says you only need to provide the certificate. So can the website be updated to say that it should include a course syllabus and outline as well?
So if I could just jump in on this one, I actually have this later on the agenda. I'm looking to kind of streamline the process for submitting their CE requirements. So if we can discuss this
Okay.
later on with number
Thanks.
5, because
That's fine.
it's something that I've been wanting to kind of get straight away too. So
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Okay, so getting back to Mr. Eisenberg. I don't have a problem with it. And this is what I went through all of this thing sometime, these courses. And this is what I use as really making my decision myself and making some notes was the basis of what they should have and what they shouldn't have. Just what Mr. Cohen had explained. So again, it's the courses that he's looking. Oh, by the way, Jill?
Yes, I'm here, Ben.
So can you find out, Keep Me Certified, which we've approved a lot of their courses on it? Could you see if he had, we have approved Understanding the Appraisal?
I believe we do. Let me just check that. Hang on.
One question while she's looking that up. I mean, to me, it's helpful when I see a brand that I know, like the CE Shop or a Relevant Board of Realtors or Keep Me Certified or whatever. Is that something that we should be considering, or is that something we should not?
Yes, I mean, that's part of it. We'll be talking about that. This is like our first time around here, but go.
Ben, what was the name of that course again?
Yeah, this is,
Understanding the appraisal?
right,
Yeah, that is a Connecticut course.
okay. About his code of ethics,
Ethics in real estate. I don't see one sought the code, but it's
okay, and fair housing.
in fair housing. Are they all 3-hour courses?
Yes, they're all 3-hour courses.
Yeah, there's agent. I don't see fair housing here. But it doesn't mean he has a fair housing in another state, because he has multiple states.
Mhm. Well, obviously he has it in New Jersey.
Yeah, I don't see it here.
Okay.
It's always a great topic.
And yes, but I think fair housing is fair housing. I think code of ethics is code of ethics. I don't know, I'm agreeing that, that we approve these courses for continuing with.
Are you asking for a motion?
I think I am, well, if we can discuss more, or we can go for a motion. So any other discussions?
You
I'll be
can
asking
have
for-
a motion and then discuss.
That's correct.
Okay.
Ben,
I
what
so
year is
moved.
that for? What year is that for?
Well, I took the course in 23.
Okay, so it's for 24. He's getting these
That's
approved for
correct.
24. Okay.
Okay, so let's go for a motion.
I so move.
Second,
Okay, discussion? Okay, all in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Approved. The other thing, the other is, excuse me, new business is a 2024 schedule, so put it in your calendar for, 2024. It's February 7th, May 1st, August 7th, November 6th.
Is it possible that we can move the start time of these meetings a little earlier? I mean, we used to do 9 when we would physically meet, and then I think we moved it back because people needed more time to drive, but we don't physically meet anymore. So we don't have to commute. Could we move it to 9:30?
I think for years our meetings, you remember, it was 9:15. I always remember that number because 9:15 was an odd time, but, doesn't matter to me. Does anybody want to discuss that? We can make a motion and discuss it.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we move the start time of the meeting to 9:30 or earlier going forward. Or for next year's schedule.
Second
You
of it,
want 9:30 or you want to do something else?
If people are want to propose a different time, that's fine. Like if
I
you
mean,
wanna
I
go back
like
to
9.
9:15.
If you guys like 9, I
Yeah,
like
I'm
9.
happy to do earlier, like, because I have work to do, right? So like, that's all I'm trying to manage is my actual work day. Like I looked at today's agenda and freaked out a little bit because I have stuff I have to do this afternoon.
Yeah,
and I
it
don't know how
breaks
long
up
this
the
will take.
day. It's hard to do things
Yeah.
in the middle of the day.
Yeah, so that's the reason why I'm asking.
I think the other question is that, are we gonna be going in? Or is this gonna be?
I don't know.
Let me just say something. Is Jason?
I would suggest we support that with the provision that should we begin meeting in person, we revert to the 10. There are several of us who have a long haul in order to get to the meeting, and traffic was a disaster for us at the earlier time. I mean, while we're doing it
That's
online,
fine.
I don't care.
That's fine.
How's that, the department, how's that gonna change anything? I think that. Now,
no.
we have to reschedule for next year, time wise. with all the course, days?
Yeah, I mean, the start time doesn't matter to us as far as in person or online. It's up to you. I mean, different boards are doing it differently. Some are staying entirely online. Some have moved entirely in person and some are doing, every other meeting. And it all just kind of depends on the board.
All right, so let's, make a motion for 9:30.
I thought you already did.
I did.
Second it then.
Second,
Okay. Discussion, further discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Thank you.
So we'll change that to 9:30.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Okay, all right, continuing education equivalence reviews. First one is Terrace Duffy.
all right.
Mr. Duffy is, you're looking for 9 hours of continuing education, credit for continued association of assessing. He's an assessor. Taking this course. He's looking for 9 hours. Okay. Let's discuss this. Anybody have any questions on this?
Yes, does he still need to take a fair housing course, correct?
This will be an elective. This will not be for merit. I looked through this quickly, and my feelings toward it, looking at this course, is perhaps spending 3 hours on it. I think it's too much on one. It's out of the core, just one particular item. Although there are other good things in this course, but I don't think we should go. I don't think 9 hours is adequate. Much.
That's fine. I thought the course was at least relevant to
It is.
what we
Right.
should be doing, so that's fine. Yep. I mean, it's obviously assessor skewed, but there's, appraisal valuation and that sort of thing, so that's fine.
Okay. So can I have a motion, please? The motion would be for 3 hours.
Motion for Terrence Duffy to receive 3 hours of continuing education requirements, elective continuing education requirements.
Thank you.
I'll second it. I'll second it.
Okay, discussion further? All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Okay. Passed. Next one is David Livshin. He's a reciprocal, he has a New York license. You're probably aware of the fact is that we are not reciprocally longer, by the way, with New York, but this is an existing license. One of the things he's asking here, please attach certified course completion in New York along with the course syllabus downloaded and printed. I took very similar course 2 years ago, and then only had to take 3 hours course, which I did through the Hartford board. I think he's I think he announced that was the old course. It's now two. That was when I had 2 mandatory courses. So he's looking for. Okay, he's outlining the different, because courses passed contains new continuing education requirement and has been approved by the state of New York. Well, a lot of it has to do with the state of New York. It's not deal with Connecticut. 。 Did anybody have a chance to go through it?
It was mostly fair housing related. Because New York has instituted like huge amounts of fair housing, like required fair housing training, given the issues that they had found on Staten Island or Long Island. So they've, I think, mandated that for the entire state.
So I have a concern about that. You know, my concern is, it's not just that their fair housing exceeds ours. If it just exceeded it, I would say fine. The problem is that it seems to me that it's different from ours. And we're starting to see those differences, and we're starting to see, I think, you know, I'm starting to see that those differences in some ways are better and in some ways are worse. So the most I can say about it is that it's different.
That's true. I mean, I don't think what he's asking for is to take the 2-3 hours, but
Connecticut,
I think, but he's talking about commercial investment. I mean, there are a lot of things in here that's probably fine, but a lot of it really isn't going to pertain to Connecticut.
Yeah.
As Peter said.
Ben, do you know how many hours he's asking for? Because I didn't see that in the email.
Yeah.
Is he asking for 9 hours because he understands he still has
Yeah.
to take the required class?
I don't believe he did specify how many hours he was looking for. When I do talk with them, I usually let them know that they are still required to take the mandatory course. So it would only be elective credits that would be transferred over, kind of thing.
Right, so the most he would be could get is 9 hours, just like the last person. But he didn't specify he wants 9 hours.
It says last time I received. He just talks about what he received last time.
Yeah, right.
Can we approve him for 9 hours and only approve him for that?
I wouldn't
You can
approve-
approve him. We just approved the last guy for 3 hours, so we can
Yeah.
approve him for however many hours we want.
If he wants 3 hours, I can see it in there. But again, we don't have the whole, here, this is an outline. So we really don't have force to digest here. So that's another issue. I think the only thing is that it is elective, and obviously I'm looking for a generic, which covers into real estate, commercial investment, yes. I mean, how do we know that he's taking these courses? Is there a certification? I don't see. Oh, I apologize.
Yeah, his certificates are
There's
at
one
the
at the
end.
very end.
Yeah, it is for 22.5. But it's nothing about the course in that certificate. Did you see that? It talks about completed ACEFHIL, but we don't have the course. We have an outline, but not the course.
I don't know. I'd be okay giving him the 3 hours like the last person.
I think, should we pick one of these that he's outlined and to look at it?
Can I just say, I have a problem with a lot of these because, you know, we're being asked to approve and give them credit, and yet we haven't seen the course. You know, our courses all have to be approved, correct? And we're just,
That's why, Sharon, I asked if they were if there's like for the CE shop or Jeff Weiss's class. I mean, some of these have already been approved by Connecticut. That's easy. All right.
but the others, we don't know what this is.
I don't know, but I mean, if you read the outline, yes, I agree. But I think some of these we should be able to ask for an outline. For example, he's saying that he took.
But doesn't he provide the outline?
He's got,
Yeah.
he's got a completed ACEF, but that's not the class. So.
Do we want to kick everything back where there isn't an outline and ask them to provide that for our next meeting?
Can we do that though? Because that's not, it wasn't required for everyone. That was the thing. Like there were so like I said, on the DCP website, the FAQs don't say anything about submitting the course syllabus or outline. And in the emails back to people, sometimes it said it and sometimes it didn't, and or they ignored it. I mean, if it was told to them and they ignored it, like, no, I don't, like, too bad. But if they weren't told,
Now,
So
this
we really have to make
school,
it
by the way,
clear.
we checked it out. This particular school is not approved in Connecticut. Not one of the court.
do we know if New York has a similar situation where their consumer protection or whoever has to approve all of the courses that their licensees take?
I don't know that.
They're pretty stringent, believe me.
Yeah, like New York, I think, is even more stringent than we are.
Yeah.
Getting back there. I think, well. I would be comfortable giving them 3 hours. Okay,
So why don't we put in a motion for that if no one is uncomfortable with that, and then at least we can feel confident in that number.
I agree. And I think if he has any other questions regarding it, then we can request then more courses in detail.
Yeah.
Agree? Okay.
All right, if no one disagrees, I move that we approve him for 3 hours.
Second, please. Marek, okay, so discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? That's 3 hours. Okay, oh boy, I can't pronounce this one. Last name is Faroouqui. Okay, so I get, hello, I teach real estate salesman's license course at Gateway. I get elective CE credits every time for those, and I only do the mandatory course to fulfill my requirements. Still, I guess, and I know this has been done before, but I don't see, and I don't know where it's a regulation of any sort regarding them being, all they have to do is a mandatory.
But
instructors.
I have read that if you teach, that counts as taking the course.
Where? Where do
I
you see
don't know
this?
where, I can Google it, but I can tell you same thing with attorneys, it's universally considered, because if you're teaching it, you know the material, you've been through the material.
So the other question though I had is that the document she provided, I think it's, I don't know if it's a she. It was provided, said that, yeah, it is a she, said that she taught in the spring of 2022. So was that actually within when though? Because when is our CE deadline is from what, like,
Is that a
salesperson, for salespersons, it was May 31st, right?
Yes.
So was she even teaching, because it doesn't say she taught in 2023. So was she even teaching when the current cycle started?
It's a great
And she's
question.
not, and she hasn't, it doesn't say anything. I mean, P&P is different than the required class that we offered. I have no idea about if you're an instructor, you don't have to take the classes. I know, like, we as commissioners are exempt from taking classes, but I don't know what other people are.
Well, we're not.
But I
even-
was just,
We're not even exempt. We vote on it. That's how we get exempt.
correct, yes. I mean, so for this current cycle, we're exempt. So I just don't know, one, did she teach in the actual current cycle? And two, is she truly exempt just because she's teaching P&P? Because that's not the required class at all.
The last sentence kind of indicates to me that she had requested this before and had gotten approved. You see, may I again request? So it appears that she did this last.
Yeah, and isn't
maybe.
And isn't she saying she knows she has to take fair housing?
Mm-hmm. She said she has
Yeah,
to
but
take
fair
it.
housing is different. Fair housing is a NAR requirement. It is not a Connecticut requirement. Connecticut has its own 3-hour requirement. So those are two separate things.
Jill?
Yes.
Jill?
Yep, I'm here, Ben.
What's history on this in the past we've been doing? You know, what
Well,
do we do last cycle? Were the instructors all?
The history has been, if you teach a particular course, then you get credit for that course as CE.
Yeah,
So
I agree. And this doesn't
P&P
qualify. This isn't
P&P
CE.
isn't a CE course. It's a core, pre-licensing.
All right, then she shouldn't get any exemption at all. If that's the only class she's teaching. If she was teaching elective classes or even the principal class, then that would make sense then. Because those are after the fact classes. Those are continuing education, not a pre-licensing class.
I agree.
One question, just to, to fully discuss this. How much of continuing ed is really reinforcement of what we learned at P&P? Should we give her nothing or should we do something? And once we do it, that's the policy.
I think it totally depends on the person and the classes you're picking for continuing ed. Because I could take an appraisal class as an elective, and I don't think appraisal is covered very much in P&P.
But that's an elective. What about core classes?
There's only one core class.
Okay. Yeah, and then I don't think we have a lot of choice here, but to deny.
Okay, so let's make a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to deny the equivalency requirement exemption for Sajida Faruqi.
Okay, I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Passed, it's denied. Okay.
Wow.
Scott Lippo? I think this course, first of all, CCIM is an excellent course. So, but I think it's taken, the time frame is wrong, March 7th. I believe his
96 years old.
This is not the one I have. It's not
No, not that one.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're not on green.
We're gonna get
No,
the
we're on
96.
Scott Lippo. All right, so yeah, I thought it was, I said the CE was done on 3/7/2022, so I thought that was too early. He didn't provide a syllabus, but he also wasn't instructed to provide one. So, but I agree. I think it's just too early.
Of course, that's correct.
So then we can't provide
Well,
anything there.
So for salesman, it's 4/1, April 1st. So we'll deny that one. Based
So
on time.
motion
No, it's
to
June.
deny.
That's June 1st for salespeople. Comes
Sorry,
after
because-
the expiration date. The expiration date is May 31st. So June 1st is when it starts. 2022 would have been the new cycle.
right.
Right, it's too early.
Too early.
All right, so I'll make a motion to deny Scott Lippo for the equivalency education.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's denied.
Do they get any explanation why it's being denied or approved?
I don't know if they do, and I don't think, when you go back to them,
Because it's too bad, like with this particular one, CCIM is extraordinarily rigorous. So I would hate for this person to think that we're denying it because it's CCIM.
Michelle, when you go back to them and tell them they were denied, did you give them a reason?
So I do get it in the motion. I'm not sure whose responsibility it is to reach back out to them. If it is me, then I will be taking care of it, but.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a lot to really share. I mean, one thing I would say, maybe Rochelle, you can do is refer them to this recording. Say, if you want more detail, you can go watch the recording.
Sure. Yeah, I figured I could send the minutes to the invite email that I sent before with the agenda, at least as a notification.
Okay. The next one is Robert Caruso.
Amy, you're muted if you're trying.
I'm not seeing Robert Caruso.
I said a lot of things, sorry. So he's a New York broker and he provided only certificates. The continuing ed was done in November of 2022 though, so I think he's within like the proper time frame at least.
That may be so. I mean, first of all, he's talking about, did you look at his certificates? Everybody look at his certificates?
Yes.
Yeah, all right, so agency and advanced disclosure options. I don't know what the heck that, wait, who did the training?
Hold on a second. It's the wrong state. It's not an agency in New York.
So Jill, is the Real Estate Education Center, is that one company, is that company approved for Connecticut CE?
I don't think so, but let me run it through.
But he's taken it in New York, so therefore it would
Right,
be
cultural.
reference to New York. It would be reference to Connecticut.
Right, for that one. I mean, he's got a fair housing one, he's got ethics in real estate. Fair housing, another fair housing, again, because an implicit bias, because again, New York is requiring all of these classes now. And New York recent legal matters, so obviously like we shouldn't provide credit for that because no.
While she's looking up the school.
No, they are not an approved school.
Okay, so agency is no. The second one was cultural.
Yeah, no.
2-hour continuing course. That's a 2-hour course. So forget that's a no. The next one, ethics in real estate. I don't have a problem with that one.
Yes.
Okay, so that's 3 hours. Would give them 3 hours.
No, 4. That's isn't that 4 hours?
Yeah, but we're only gonna get
Yeah,
three.
but you
Don't get three.
Got it. Yeah.
And then
you
the
have
other
to take a
one-
3-hour class here, so.
And then the other one was fair housing update video. I don't know about videos. So I disagree on videos. And then again, he's got fair housing twice. So
Yeah, I'm concerned about the video. With a class, you have an instructor, even the live virtual, you have an instructor monitoring it. With a video, how do you know that the person is consuming the product that you're providing?
I think it's like part of the class is a video.
I see.
It also
But can
says
we-
that he has a 3-hour continuing.
So it's a
ed
proctored video.
in fair
in
housing.
effect. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they
So-
probably have like a timer on it that you let it run for 3 hours.
Did I hear that this school was not approved? Not
in Connecticut.
not
Okay.
just Connecticut, right?
So, okay,
The
thank you.
last one is about bias. That's a 2-hour course, so we're gonna.
So it sounds like there's 6 hours we're really talking about here that we could potentially give him.
You know, let me just go through all of them, so not to get confused here, so then we'll know which ones. All right, and the last one is only 1 hour, continuing education course, New York recent legal matters. So that's denied. So now we're down to,
Yeah.
So there's an
Fair
ethics in real
housing.
estate
Yeah, and ethics.
and the fair housing update video and another fair housing. So 2 fair housings and like an ethics update.
I mean, to me, yeah, I would only count fair housing one time and 3
Yeah,
hours
that's
for
fine.
that. And I would give ethics one time, 3 hours.
That's fine. I'm fine with that.
I guess I'll put in that as a motion to approve 6 hours.
For Robert Caruso,
For Caruso.
I will second that.
Ben, you're muted.
Okay, we're approving the fair housing. Okay, and the ethics?
Yep.
That's correct, that's for, yes, for us. Okay. You made the motion for approving 6 hours?
That's the
Okay.
motion.
Second it? Okay.
Yeah, and
Discussion, further discussion? All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approve for 6 hours. Okay, Jason Core, you have that
So
one?
this guy's a New York broker. He provided the certificates, or his assistant provided certificates in the syllabus. It was done in September of 2023. But I think there might have been a duplicate certificate provided, so I don't know that he actually did. So there's a Breaking Barriers of Fair Housing that was done on September 22nd of this year. We completed that. And then using the code to solve ethical dilemmas, fine, that was done on September 27th. But then he provided the Breaking Barriers Fair Housing one again on 9/22. So I think he submitted the same certificate twice, so it's really only like 6 hours available here.
That's correct.
If any. Okay.
There's only,
And it's with CE Shop, who we know is approved in Connecticut.
yeah, that's correct. And these are, well, they can be approved for Connecticut, but as the course also approved in Connecticut. I believe they are. Okay, so you're right, it's the last certificate is a duplicate. So looking for a motion for 6 hours?
Yeah, so I'll make a motion to provide Jason Kerwar with 6 hours of education equivalency.
Second, please.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved for 6 hours. Now, this other one is ready, Linda Nardi.
Yeah, so this one is a person, she has a residential license here. It looks like she took her courses in Florida. They were done in 2023, so that's the right time frame. But there's no discussion there's no information as to, what they actually contained. And just based on the title of the class, they seem more business related. Live stream ethics and business practices, core law. Like, I don't think that falls under things that we should be providing equivalency credit for.
I think we need more detail. First of all, I can't even read this. It's not even legible.
Mastering the paperless real estate transaction, like that's not.
The
don't
law,
see
I
how that's
wish I
relevant.
had more detail on the law one, because that could be very helpful too. That could be very helpful.
Well, law for what? State?
Well, real estate law in general. I mean, I think that's, but a lot of that's covered in P&P.
Is this for Florida law?
That's why it's not helpful. I wish I had the description.
I think we have to have, request to have more detail and legible.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, she should be providing a course syllabus, who provide, I guess it does say who the provider is for each of them. But none of these are approved in Connecticut because they're all like Florida real estate groups. Maybe Elm Street Technology is, but the other two. But then like social media boot camp best practices, that should not be approved.
That's
Agreed.
correct. Again, is that my feeling about it is that let's get something that we can read in more detail.
I agree.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, so do we make a motion or do we just
Yes.
table that one and they go back to her and get more information?
I think we should make a motion that we, so we'll have it on there, is that we need more necessary, more information, and that the request be legible. I don't have no record. So I need a motion.
So moved.
Second,
Second,
discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
So we'll request more information regarding this sample. Russell Brazil. Do you have it? Again, his course is listed through the CE shop.
This one seemed not relevant to me at all. So he's a broker in Virginia and DC. He did take CE shop certs. There was no syllabus and the classes seemed not relevant to me.
Using
All
the
right,
code of
so, all right,
ethics.
so using the code to solve ethics, but maybe that was, but he had two of those. So is that the same class?
Well, let's just,
On August, all right, so August 8th of 2023, August 8th of 2023. So that's a duplicate. All right, brokerage relationships and disclosures. I don't know what that's related to. Agency HDL/Merck. I don't know what that is. Your kaleidoscope of clients. So that is a fair housing one, but that's only 1.5 hours. Personal safety, 1.5 hours. And then a required supervision course. That did not seem relevant to me. So there was, I guess the first one is the one that's relevant, but it's listed twice, so you can only give it to him once.
Let's see, the code of ethics. Yeah, that seems relevant.
by
What
the way,
about,
just to let you know, that's approved in the CE shop, that course is approved in Connecticut.
oh, that makes that easy.
Yeah.
So that one we don't even have to talk about. Brokerage relationship and disclosure, is that one relevant?
But what does that even mean? What does DL/MREC mean?
I don't know.
That's a New York course though, agency.
Okay, so that's not relevant. Fair housing,
It's
though.
not approved in Connecticut, so we're not gonna approve Connecticut, New York courses.
The fair
No.
housing class was only 1.5 hours.
Well, can we approve 1.5 hours?
No, gotta be 3-4 hours.
Okay,
Not fair.
And the same thing with the safety one.
Yeah,
so there's only one that we're really discussing, which is already approved anyhow.
that's correct.
So we'll make a motion to provide Russell Brazeau with 3 hours of equivalency credit.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? So we're going to give Mr. Brazel 3 hours for this continuing day. Soroka, Amy Smith Soroka.
This one was a broker. And I just wrote questionable classes, cover topics approved. So I don't.
Principal school's
Oh,
not,
provider broker's license. All right, so Hudson Gateway Association of Realtors. So she went through like her local board. Certification, all right, first time home buyers, a niche to grow on. So I don't know if that's one of the approved class, like an approved subject matter or not. Second, home ownership, trends, options, and opportunities. I mean, this is all like growing your business stuff. All right, so here's a breaking barriers, fair housing.
first of all, just, by the way, just let you know, Hudson Gateway is not unapproved for school in Connecticut.
No,
I think these courses here, because it's questionable exactly what they have is, we'd have to see the course.
all right, and then ethical excellence, raising the bar, approved for 2.5 hours of ethics and then 1 hour of agency. So I don't think we approve stuff for agency in a different state because they may have different rules. And then document diligent, bulletproof your transactions, which again isn't like, that's like a business class. I mean, I would tend to think if it's going through their board of local realtors, it's not really any different than a local board here providing a class. So I'm okay approving that sort of thing, but like, I feel like most of these are not relevant to what we would require. The one that's breaking barriers, fair housing, approved for 3 hours of fair housing. That seems okay to me, but the rest don't seem relevant.
Agree.
Motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve 3 hours for Amy Smith Soroka for equivalency credit.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? You approve for 3 hours being in. This was David Henry.
All right, so this guy's a real estate broker in Minnesota, Nevada, and Florida, and none of the classes seemed relevant to Connecticut real estate. I think they were because they were all state specific.
I think if you check his license, I think he just took his license. I think he's actually, this is a freebie this cycle for him.
So he doesn't even need credit?
Yeah, where was his license? Can you check it out? Jill? What was his license?
Yeah,
What
I'm
was his
checking it
license?
right now.
I thought it was 22 or something.
20,
What?
August 6th, 2022. He
Okay.
took the state portion. He took the state exam for Connecticut law. So actually, he doesn't need it. He won't need CE until
Okay.
20.
That's a neat.
All right. So do we have to do a motion on this or he
I think
just?
take a moment to acknowledge it, that we did discuss it. Let's just make a motion that we discussed this and that he does not need necessary to take CE for the cycle of 22-24.
So
How's
moved.
that gonna come through to him?
Well, he'll get that information.
Well, he'll get the information that he's been denied his equivalency credit, but
My fear is he's gonna be issued, he's gonna be told he's denied and he's gonna pay for classes and take.
Because, tell him because he does not, it's not necessary for the cycle of 22-24.
all right, so we should just then also say that DCP needs to inform him of that.
Yes.
Will DCP inform him of that?
Yes, I'll
Who
be sending
who
out
at DCP
notifications.
is going to inform him?
I'm
That's my
sending out
concern.
notifications to all the guests.
So make sure there's notation of such.
Because what we were just told previously is that they don't notate it,
But this is about the court. I mean, he doesn't even have to take course.
I just think it's a courtesy that if these people are requesting from us, that we explain to them why our decision. I just think it's the right thing to do.
I agree.
Yeah, but
That's
I do just want to note that they are informed of when, that it's going to be at the next meeting, so they're more than welcome and invited to attend. So if they don't want to attend, that's really their choice. We can give them the motion and decision, but we can't provide all the discussion and rationale that goes into decisions. That's just not possible.
So Jason, what do we do here? Because we are neither denying it nor approving it. We're simply saying to him that it's unnecessary. So I guess, does that come through to him as a denial or an approval? It's binary.
Unless we make a motion indicating that there is no action necessary because.
But once again, will it be, I don't think it's going to be indicated to him that way. I think it's going to come to him either as denied or approved.
Oh, I mean, we could share the motion. If you take a motion, we can certainly share the motion and the result.
Okay.
Well, that's what we just said. Okay.
So then what is our motion?
That there is no action necessary.
And if he
But that
has
doesn't
any
explain
further
that
questions
he wanted to.
regarding that, then he can contact us, the department.
Do we want to simplify it for him and make the motion of approved because there's no action necessary on his behalf? That way it's clear to him that he doesn't need to do anything.
If we can't approve it if he's, I mean, because we're not giving him what he asked for.
Yeah, you're right.
But I would think he would contact the department for clarification. At that time, we can discuss that with him.
Okay.
Okay, so ready to make a motion? Make a motion, no action was necessary.
I move that we take no action on this request due to the fact that he is already qualified. I don't know if that's the right term, but fill in the blank.
I second the motion that we take no action because he is already, because it is unnecessary for him in this instance.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Agreed. Okay, Peter Eleni.
This one didn't include any context, just the certificates. So I don't know what they're looking for, some of which seem okay, but some of which are not.
Oh, again, his first one is agency. This is New York. So I don't know, we can't approve that one. Here's
Wait, the
other-
first one's fair housing.
well, maybe that's
The
not
first
it.
one's fair housing for 3 hours, so, okay. And
Well,
again, this is through his Association of Realtors, so it's like a local board here, so. All right, next one is listing presentation, so that would, I don't think that's relevant. Home inspection irritations and environmental issues. I don't know. The agency one is no, right, because it's not here.
Specialism is 2 hours and
Is this person a broker or an agent? Because some of these are like May 9th of 2022. Like some of them aren't within the right time frame either, if they're an agent.
just saying it's covered letter. I don't know.
I'm looking him up, hold on. These are sales agents, so these would have to be after June 1 of 2022 or later, right? I think only one of them is before that, but just you have to pay attention to that too.
So we got fair housing.
Yeah, I think fair housing might be the only one.
You said the only one to be fair housing, right? Anybody see anything else?
No,
Now, the rest of these are like personal interests, like kitchens and bath solutions, no. All right, so I'll make a motion to provide 3 hours of continuing education to Peter Alani.
second,
Discussion? All in favor?
aye,
Aye. Approved 3 hours of continuing ed. Okay, I see Mr. Henry, David Henry's here. Am I correct? Hi, you're muted.
Hello. I joined late, so I'm not sure where you are in the agenda because my agenda doesn't have a Peter Alani on it, so I'm not sure where you are.
Well, I'm glad you did show up because the discussion here was, I think you took your for your license on the example on the 22. So you,
Yeah, my expiration is November 30th, 2024, and I just was trying to get a read on whether these are going to be accepted courses or whether I should take the Connecticut specific courses because I need to plan ahead a little bit on my coursework. I have licenses in different states.
well, I have good news for you. You don't have to take them this cycle.
What will I need next September when I go to renew in
Nothing.
September of
Nothing.
2024?
Nothing.
Okay. All right. It was really hard for me to get clarity on that, but all right. Well, that's good news.
Right. Well, I'm glad you're attending because we wanted to also explain that to you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much. Thank you.
best to you.
Are there any other questions for me or that's it?
I think that's it.
Okay. All right. I will leave the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, now we are continuing the education hardship waiver extension request.
Ben, this is Mimi. So his granddaughter, Tara, is here. I'm not sure if she's in the home with him, but I believe she is on this meeting. I saw her earlier. Tara, are you there?
Yeah, we're both here.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so they can explain the situation to you further. He does own a real estate company, an LLC, but he is the only one in the company. So he has no salesperson or anybody working for him currently. So they can explain furthermore his situation. So Tara, go ahead.
I'm sorry, are we doing Stankiewicz next?
No, Green, this is Green.
Green.
I understand that, but on the agenda, the continuing education waiver request A is Stankiewicz.
Oh, I thought we were on Green.
My biggest concern is that over the years, I renewed my license by taking the classes. And I can't take classes because I'm no good at the computer. So that's where, and I've had the license for 50 years. I do have properties in Tarpon, 52 acres. I'm trying to get a subdivision approved, adult community. And I got this nice office building that I converted to and 7 tenants. And I would really like to keep my license.
He's all business, this one.
To me, this is what the motion for hardship is specifically for, you know, I mean, I read the letter and I see that Mr. Green, first of all, 50 years of experience, which I admire. Second of all, you know, of course, at 96, physically getting to a class is going to be a challenge. Taking an online education with a gentleman who's not comfortable with a computer is also a challenge. But, you know, 50 years of experience, he's done lots of cycles of CE.
Oh, yeah.
I retired from the New York City Police Department as a captain after putting in 32 years. Then got my license and became a real estate broker.
Thank you for your service, sir.
But anyway, I'd appreciate it if you people could consider, because when this all came up, my poor darling wife of 74 years was dying. She's in hospice. And then she did die on January 7th. And I got pneumonia. I got it once, I got it twice. So I was sort of knocked out of any kind of figuring out things.
I'm sorry for your loss with your wife.
Thirdly, if you people have the power to give me this consideration. And
Unless anyone objects, I'd love to put in a motion to approve Mr. Green's request.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Does he actually need a broker's license or any real estate license to develop property he owns personally? Like,
No.
isn't that a for sale by owner situation?
You don't need it, but it's helpful.
I don't second Peter's motion.
Can I just say one thing? Number one is continuation for cycle 2024. That's 4
I
years.
owned the property in Taunton for 50 years. And they changed the zoning on me at one point. For 15, which meant it was, you couldn't have sewers unless you had R15. They took the R15 away from me and made it R40. And so I'm going in and get that changed so I can do the subdivision. But I think it'd be nice to have, I've had it all these years.
Yeah, he just really wants it. He's ready to send in that application if it gets approved.
Yeah. So I don't know. If you people have the power to do something like that, I would certainly appreciate if you do it.
Motion on the floor, it's been moved and seconded.
You're looking for though, I believe you're looking for 2 cycles approval.
Correct.
When was the last time you actually were involved in a real estate transaction?
It's a while ago.
1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year, 6 year?
Yeah. Okay.
About like 5 years.
I can't remember.
Oh.
Offhand. Yeah. That's a good question. But I feel secure with it.
Yeah.
But you do understand though, Mr. Green, that you can do your subdivision, you can do many things because you own this property yourself and you're representing yourself in essence, not necessarily have a license. You do understand that?
No.
You don't
I think he understands that, but he actually still has his real estate office. And I don't know.
I have an office at downtown Lakeville.
He said you don't.
Show them the picture.
I believe it's in Torrington, correct?
It's in Lakeville.
Okay.
Yeah,
On
on Main Street.
So I just want to add, I explained all this to Mr. Green, that he doesn't need his broker's license to do any of the developments that he owns, as you said, because it's his own. And he currently does not have any salesperson or anybody working underneath him or for him. You know, he's aware of all this, but he still wanted to renew his license. So I asked him to bring it up to the commissioners, to the board.
To me, there's three things. There's a matter of the dignity of maintaining a license. There's also the fact that Mr. Green has a retail store, and you know, to the extent he calls himself a realtor, he has to have a license to call himself a realtor. And the other thing is, this allows Mr. Green to continue, should he decide to rent out something tomorrow, engage in the business of real estate tomorrow, it permits him to do that, which if he loses his license, he loses that ability.
Yeah, he actually does have, I think 7 tenants in his office building right now too.
But he doesn't, Peter, you're saying if he loses his license, he doesn't have his license, is my understanding.
He doesn't.
Right? So should we be running a real, or like have an office, a real estate office,
wait a
if we
minute.
don't have a license?
Mr. Green, I'm confused. I thought Mr. Green has a license and is simply asking to be
I don't
renewed.
think you can
without
have your
taking
license if you
CE.
haven't done your CE for 4 years.
Well,
Yeah,
it
his
expired.
license,
This
his
is
license.
Peter, it's for 2 cycles.
Yeah, so it
So does
expired,
he have an active real estate license or not?
Cycles.
it expired last year. That's why he was
July
saying, because
July 31st was my birthday. And it expired then. And-
yeah.
But if I had got in and made application, I could have.
And we didn't because of everything that was going on
Good.
at the time. We didn't even, I never saw the renewal notice.
Things
So,
were pretty bad with my wife.
His license,
It's
I'm
inactive.
sorry, his license was inactive in 2022.
Yeah, it
Has been
expired on March
inactive.
31st, 2022. Yeah, so.
so that's why we're requesting the waiver because he wants to renew it, but he knows he can't without some kind of, approval or
Then-
something.
Pneumonia twice.
Can I just ask you?
Mr. Green, what would you like to do with your license?
What you-
What would you like to do with your license?
Whoa, I'd like to keep it.
You know you can have a retired license?
Because, I've been dealing with these real estate brokers over the years.
He said, did you know about the retirement license?
No,
No, he doesn't know about that.
there's a retirement.
You can have a license, be retired, you can't be active using it, but you would be licensed.
Did you hear that?
Oh, I don't know anything about retirement. But
I don't think retirement is in your vocabulary.
No, it's not. He's gonna stop working.
That's why he's 96.
Always a captain. He was a captain of the New York City Police Department. Hard worker.
yeah.
I
And
don't- you don't,
this department, the way you get promoted, you take tests. So I went pretty good test, but now 96 and to have to go back to school. And I'm not good at it. So,
Tara, could you ask him in order to,
So
to satisfy his desires and to maintain his dignity, if he would be interested in what Ben is proposing, that he go into a retired licensed agent?
Would you be interested in the retirement license?
What's it?
The retirement license, so you still have the license, but you don't actively
Use it.
Oh, but
use
I
it.
have the license?
You would have it, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all right. But it is nice to be able to say,
But I
I'm a
want you
real
to
estate
understand,
broker.
I want you to understand what it means. It's not that you can't go out and co-broke a house or co-broke a business or whatever. Okay? So you would be licensed, you could say you're licensed, but you can't actually use it. All right, but it would give you your dignity of having a license. Nurses, by the way, nurses is a profession that also has a similar type license.
That's good. So what do you think?
Huh?
Said, what do you think? What do you think?
I don't think, I don't know what this realty, if.
So you would
if
have your
you
license,
retire-
but you wouldn't be able to make any sales, that's all, with it. But you can still sell all your other stuff, because that's personal stuff, private stuff.
I would,
It would still be your license, yeah.
I'd still have a real estate license.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, 96, I'm starting to feel it. Sort of, I'm
Finally starting to slow down.
ready to retire.
Oh,
Do you understand, Kara? Everything?
I do, yeah.
Okay,
I
did
see
look into
Jill's
that
hand
paper.
is up.
I'm sorry,
I see Jill's hand is up. Jill, I don't,
Jill?
Hi, yeah, my hand's been up for a while, from the beginning, because I just wanted to mention that he was reinstating, because he did expire at the end of March of 2022. But a retirement license is just that, it's retired. And if you ever want to get it back, then you have to, there's a change form to get it back. I think it's a $25 fee. You don't have to do any CE except for that current period that you would be making the license active. So that might be a good option. I'm just wondering if it can go there, if it's already expired, but maybe you could make a motion to that effect.
so I am going to stick by my original motion. You know, a couple things I wanted to add to that is, you know, I think Mr. Green, with his 50 years of experience as a realtor, is really extraordinary. I admire his experience. And the other thing is, I don't see Mr. Green, with all of his experience, being a danger to the consumer. And also with his previous experience as a police officer, I think, you know, to my mind, the ethics component is well satisfied.
Can we repeat what the motion is that's been put
So-
forward and apparently seconded?
Absolutely. My motion was to approve Mr. Green's request as requested.
Which is what? Like, you should state what that request is.
Okay. To approve the hardship waiver of let me just pull this out. To approve the hardship waiver and to waive the CE for the last two periods.
Oh,
And my second still left.
Okay, so can I ask a clarifying question? So based on that motion, that essentially just, once he pays his fee, reinstates his real estate broker, his regular real estate broker's license.
Yeah, he's
Is that
good to
correct?
go. Yeah, he's good to go.
Right, I thought he was, said he would be interested in the retirement license, as long as he can say he's a broker.
Kara, can I, again,
I certainly also commend you, Mr. Green, because I've been practicing law for 60 years, so I know, not as long as you have, but
You want to renew your license, Ted?
I do.
I mean, as far as he goes, he would definitely prefer to just have the regular one. You know, but if that wasn't an option, the retirement one would be something he would be okay with.
Peter, are you interested?
Kara,
in
can I ask you
revising your
something? How
motion?
active does he plan to be?
How active?
Yeah, how active do you think he's going to be? I mean, is he looking to take buyers out and sellers out or listing property? How active do you think he's going to be?
No.
We have to be able to list properties.
Oh, you want to do that?
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to with the retired.
But if he doesn't
But,
use a
know,
computer, he's not gonna be able
My
to.
neighbor sells a house. They want to give me the listing.
Yeah.
So that could be a bad thing here.
So I guess he plans on being active.
I know I'm asking an awful lot. I appreciate you. I'm an old man. I won't be using it very long anyway, so it means something to me after 50 years broker.
That's why my motion stands.
Yeah, that if I'm retired, I couldn't take a listing.
Yeah.
And good friends of mine may want to give me a listing.
Yeah, he's really good at what he does. True that.
I'm finished.
Did you belong to any boards of realtors? Did you belong to any boards?
Did you belong to any boards?
Do I belong to any board?
Or did you?
I did.
You did.
The Rotary
Rotary.
and
I mean realtor boards.
oh, Republican Party, Salisbury Republican Party. I was the treasurer.
Did you join something like the Greater Hartford Board of Realtors? You remember? Have you ever done any real?
But when I think of friends and that they would consider giving me a listing, that would go well with that.
Can we take it to a vote, Mr. Chairman?
Call the question, Peter.
Oh, I'm sorry. I asked Mr. Chairman if we could take that to a vote.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
With duress, I'm opposing.
Yeah, if it was the retired license, oh, I'm fine with that. I
Exactly.
cannot
That's
approve
how
a
I
full
feel
broker
too.
license. I
No.
can't. I'm sorry.
Nor
I'm
can
very
I.
sorry too.
I think we have a tie, actually. I believe we have a tie that we're going to need the chairman to vote on.
More active vote.
I voted aye.
So that's
So we have a tie, Mr. Chairman.
There's a tie.
Huh?
So they have a tie.
A tie.
Is it a tie or is it 3-2?
No, it's 3-3 because we have Sharon, Amy, and we've got 3-3. Yeah.
Right.
I myself feel very comfortable in giving Mr. Green a retirement license.
I think the tie.
I think it would accomplish
Favor
things for him.
ones that were good.
I think probably we may be doing him a favor with that too. I mean, there's pressure on him. There's a lot of things, although he says he would have to learn if you're listing a property. There's many things involved with listing a property today. Okay, between seller disclosures, many things. So I'm a little concerned about also the public. I know that they love you. We love you, Mr. Green, by the way, but we respect you a lot. Okay, so my feelings, I'm going to deny you the continuing ed, but my feeling is that you should get the retirement license.
Okay, so then I'd like to make another motion since that motion failed. My motion now is to give Mr. Green the retirement license.
Second.
Okay, so discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? I think that's the way we're gonna go. So we're all gonna give a little, we're gonna get a little, okay?
All right, thank you.
I wish you the best too.
Hey,
Very-
Rosie?
For your retirement license, yeah.
Oh, thanks so much. You
Oh,
made my day.
Thank you.
So
Very
for
nice
that,
to meet you, Mr. Green.
do I just print out an application for that and send it in, or?
Sarah, I can email you on that.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
This is Jill
Oh.
Conklin. I thought maybe somebody should say that because they're going to look for CE from 2022. So you might have wanted to
Let's wait for that.
waive that CE
Yeah.
and just move him towards a retirement.
I so move that we do as Jill prescribed.
Okay, let's wait for the cycle 2022. Right.
Oh,
All right, second that. Is somebody gonna second that?
Second.
I'll second.
Okay. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Oops. Okay, we're gonna waiver that. So now we're back to the current 22, 24. All right,
Okay.
yeah, you can't understand how much this means to me. Thanks so much.
okay.
So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys too. Have a good day. Thank you.
It was a pleasure, sir.
Right.
Okay, next, Corrado Rinkowitz. Did everybody read it?
Would you repeat the name?
STANK IEW
Got it. Thank you.
ICC. During the last 2 years, I've been dealing with the lack of income and medical condition, seizures that were preventing me from working. I was unable to drive. My medical conditions are improved, and with the right dose of medication, I can go back to work. I've been having problems locating my CE certificates for 2021. In addition to that, it looks like I need to pay late fees. This is why I'm reaching out for some assistance in the matter. Please let me know if there's anything else that you could offer to me. Thank you.
Sounds like there's two issues.
Well, I think 2023 is an odd cycle.
So her license has been active. Well, it doesn't say when it became inactive, but it expired on 5/31 of 2022. So she's still within like the 2-year period that you can reactivate, right?
So is she asking, so she's really asking for help with the late fees, the financial aspect. That's really what it sounds like it's about dollars. Am I mistaken in that? And maybe she's asking for more time?
Is there a fee?
Well, we know she says there's late fees.
They're asking that. I mean, she's dealing with lack of income, but she's not saying, she's not asking for that.
It doesn't, I thought, okay, let's see.
It says about paying late fees.
Yeah, that's what I'm reading.
But
right,
also
so
her
she-
20,
I need to pay it, she says.
So she hasn't fulfilled her 2020 through 2022 CE,
Oh.
it sounds like. And then she also would then need to do her 2022 to 2024 CE within that time frame and reactivate her license. So does she have to pay any, I guess, Jill, does she have to pay any late fees?
Yeah, there would be a late fee, but first of all, she'd have to pay to activate the, expired license that expired the end of May 2022. And then she'd have to pay
Yeah.
a second for 2023. So she'd be paying for 2 years plus the late fee on a late fee on both of them because they're both late, plus the CE, she'd have to produce the CE for 2022 to renew, to reinstate. To reinstate 2022, she'd have a late fee, the license fee, and the CE. And then she'd have to pay for 2023, and then there's a late fee there to reinstate that.
I don't see where she's, well,
Okay, okay.
I guess the form says continuing education hardship waiver, but she's not really asking for anything specific. You're not asking to waiver the late fees. You just can't find her C certificates.
Can we do that? Is that within our power to waive the late fees?
I'm just confused. Yeah, we could do that if we wanted.
I think she's worried about the future, Ben. That if she, as Jill just illustrated, if she goes forward, she's gonna have these late fees, and can we help her out with that because of her income situation? That's how I interpret it.
How do you interpret it, Jill?
Well, if she doesn't renew
Is she on
before,
this call?
I don't know, if she doesn't renew before the end of, before 2024 expiration date, then she will lose the ability to, because she'll be past that 2-year mark of being inactive for 2 years.
Is the requester on the call? Has she showed up?
I didn't see her. Let me check. She got on later.
Was she notified of this meeting?
She had to have been, right?
Yes, everyone received a notification.
But so
I do
what
not
you're
have,
saying,
I don't see her on
Jill,
here.
even never mind the late fees, she's gonna have to pay for 3 sets of renewals. So that's, I don't remember how much it was, about $300 a piece.
It's $285 for
Times
the
3.
license.
So it's-
Times 2, she'll be paying for 22 and 23 late fees on both of them.
285 times 2 is $570. That's before the late fees. So I don't know if it's within our power to waive the late fees, but boy, that would certainly be helpful to someone who's having income trouble.
So no offense, but like I would find it helpful if she was on this call, because like I just looked her up in the MLS to try to understand, what does she do? Does she do commercial? Does she do residential? Does she do leases? Does she do sales? And I can't find her in the MLS. So I don't know what she does with her license to practice, and that would be helpful to know. And then her request of what she's asking for isn't terribly clear if she wants financial assistance or just CE waiver assistance or what it is.
I think, well, it'd be nice, you're right, it'd be nice if she was here, because I think we need to be a little bit more specific. I mean, I think we could go back and tell her generally, this is what she would have to do, and let her come back to us and says, well, I can't do this, or I can't afford that, and then we can, this is one that we should table and have her come back.
I mean, this is a bigger issue than, the 10 people that we saw who wanted 3 hours of CE waived. So I just feel like it would be helpful if we could get personally some more information from her.
Why don't we do that?
I agree. I think it's awfully hard to approve something if we don't know what she's asking for.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd like to make a motion to table for further information from Ms. Stankowitz.
Second.
Who's going to get, I think I'd like to know who's going to get back to her and tell her to answer these, have her answer these questions? Or does she have to come in front of us and we can ask her these questions? Can somebody answer that for me? Jill?
I mean, I can reach out to her if you want me to. I can.
We're going to table it. We'll make the motion to do so. But I think we need to have you go out there and say, you can see the confusion we're having right now, Jill?
Yes, I do. And there is a note in here that I put in here
Okay.
back in October.
So let's
Earlier
address
this
it.
month.
Let's address it that way. So we're looking for, I think we have a motion. Am I correct? We need a second?
Yes.
Okay, second? Second,
Second?
okay, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Two,
Aye.
opposed? All right, so then we'll notify her of such and then have her come back to us.
Will do.
Okay, he's looking upgrade his license. This is regarding around town real estate. Randy Lynch.
Which person is this?
Lynch.
Ben, so this is,
Oh, got it.
this is Randy Lynch. I believe he is here. I've asked him to be here.
Okay,
Sorry, it's a she. It's okay.
Sorry,
I've gotten
sorry.
no, don't worry, don't worry. It's my life. It's all my mom's fault. No. Would you like me to just kind of summarize why I'm here?
sure.
Okay. So back, I would say probably about a year and a half ago, I feel like all the years are blending together right now. I got my license originally in New York back in 2018, I think it was. For many different reasons. I grew up in New York. I live in Connecticut now, but I live on the border. So I knew I was hoping to do equal amount of business in both states. So I got my license in New York. Originally, also due to the fact that I could do it online and I had very little kids at the time and a husband that had a very demanding job and was almost never home. So did New York, reciprocated in Connecticut. And then after several years of loving real estate and wanting to kind of move forward and go into the broker license sort of thing for, tax reasons, everything like that in regards to merging the business into my real estate investor business and whatnot and getting paid through an LLC. I decided to take the role of broker and for other reasons too, obviously having the status of broker, which is wonderful. But I called Connecticut since Connecticut was my where I'm doing 95% of my business. I called, not sure if it was the commissioner office or something like that, but I called to get advice as to what to do. And they said that I had to do it through New York because that was my primary where I originally got my license, even though I've only done like 2 or so sales in New York since I've gotten it. And I had to go through New York and then reciprocate in Connecticut. And this was in the beginning of last year, I believe it was, the year that, so it's 2023 right? So in the beginning of 2022, I called and that is when they said that I had to get my broker license in New York and reciprocate in Connecticut. So I said, okay. So I delayed starting the process a little bit. And I think it was my receipts that I submitted with the request for this was that I started the course in, I think it was like December 15th or December 1st, somewhere around there. And in New York, it's an online through CE Shop. And I completed it in, I think it was March, I believe it was. And I went for the broker exam and I passed the test. And I started researching what I had to do. And at that time, I knew that the reciprocation was not in existence anymore because I think that ended January 1st or so. And I'm going, okay, well, now what do? I don't really need a license, a broker license, really barely even a license for 1 or 2 sales a year in New York, period. So why am I going to upgrade to a broker license in New York, pay all the extra fees, do the extra continuing education when I barely use it there? So I stopped the process of the application there once I spoke to, I'm not sure if it was Linda, I don't know who I spoke to on the phone about this whole process when you present in front of the board. So I stopped the New York process of the broker stuff. And now I'm presenting to Connecticut to find out where I'm supposed to go with this, being the fact that Connecticut told me I had to do it through New York. Then in the middle of taking the course as well as the exam, completing 45 hours of online education for it, an additional 32 on top of that, because New York changed their rules December 15th or something. So I've now taken my real estate license, however, 75 hours of that, plus 45 of broker, 32 of broker, all in, and I did those two December to February of 22 to 23. I've done all this. I've passed the course in New York, and I was then told I can't reciprocate anymore. So I'm trying to figure out where to go with this and how to move forward with it. I've stopped the process of all applications to upgrade to broker because I don't know what to do.
So you're currently right now with, looks like, is it Keller Williams?
My New York license just left Keller Williams. Well, I was with Keller Williams when I started. No, when I started this process, I had just moved over to Around Town Real Estate with Andrew Sachs in Connecticut. My license for New York is now with the Good Agent, I think it's called. I went with somebody who just holds the license because I barely even do, I do 1 or 2 transactions a year there. So I expected more, but I don't do much. I was with Keller Williams, but when I decided to move to Around Town Real Estate, they didn't want to hold my New York license because they're a big competitor for Connecticut. So I'm no longer with Keller Williams anymore. That just changed over in my New York side, and my Connecticut is held by Around Town Real Estate in Newtown, Connecticut.
And how long have you been, I'm sorry, how long have you been active salesman?
2018.
2018. Okay. Jill, any comments?
Yes. You're currently with Ridgefield Homes First, doing business as Keller Williams.
Is that what Connecticut is showing right now? Because it's actually
Yes.
Around Town. Yeah, it's not supposed to say that. My
Well-
MLS, so
Okay.
here's the other struggle I have is the board was always an issue too, because I'm part of Hagar, but I'm not an active board member in Connecticut, which I would love to change, but then Hagar makes you in order, it's my primary license. That's where I'm like, I didn't want to be part of 2 boards for what reason? I'd love to just switch everything to Connecticut.
So to be clear, the boards, the Realtor Board, the MLS has nothing to do with the state of Connecticut license.
Yeah.
So
The license should be showing Around Town Real Estate.
it's not. It has not been. You would have to put in a transfer form, and that hasn't. Just because you transfer with your MLS doesn't transfer you with.
Let me
the
check with my
state.
broker because he had said he did all of that.
Didn't. No. And you're a
not good.
salesperson here, correct? And you've been licensed here since 2019.
Yeah, 19 January. So yeah, I passed the exams for New York, and then we had to wait for New York to go through to get Connecticut approved. So yes, I started New York 2018, and it was just in January 1st, I think, or something of 2019, correct? Connecticut. So I apologize saying 2018 before. I have to find out from my broker why he did not change over. That's the first I'm hearing this.
Yeah.
Because that was
You didn't-
August 1st.
I guess maybe, so what are you looking for?
I'm looking to be brokered in Connecticut. So the request was to allow for, well, the original request was to allow for the reciprocation, even though reciprocation is no longer allowed with New York. Then when I kind of looked at all of this in full, I told, I can't remember what her name is that I went through all of this with. I said, I've stopped the process of the broker application in New York because if it's not going to work in Connecticut, why am I even going to do it in New York? Because I use it for 1 to 2 sales a year. Like, why pay all this extra in New York when my business isn't really in New York? So I guess I'm looking for advice from you guys at this point as to how to transition 98% of my business / license to Connecticut without having to redo all of this education. And can the broker education be, and New York, my New York broker education and exam be allowed to get me my broker license in Connecticut without having to do it in New York. I don't know. Or do I need to do New York and Connecticut? That's fine if it allows me to get it in Connecticut without having to re-exam and re-educate. I mean, that was 70 something hours.
I
Jill
can,
has her
this is
hand up.
Jill. Yeah, I can give you the path. What you need to do is you need to probably, the most effective way would be to continue in New York and get the broker license. Once you have that, then you can do a non-reciprocal license with Connecticut, which would just require you to pass our state portion of our exam. And then you can get licensed here. Otherwise, you would have to, if you abandon what you've already done in New York and start fresh in Connecticut, you're going to have to take the pre-licensing courses in Connecticut.
Okay, I have one hiccup with that I may have to clear with New York, but I'm curious what your thoughts are since you guys are the experts. I may have had a misunderstanding with New York when I started this whole broker thing, because I assume when I fill out the application after I take the test and exam, I assumed the total points that are allocated to get your exam. And I know you guys aren't New York, to get your license, your broker license, the total points, you need a certain amount of transactions, whatnot. I included my entire career, like Connecticut and New York, when I counted up those points of transactions. I'm not sure now if New York is going to allow me to get the broker license. And I may have done all of this for nothing education-wise, because I only have like 13 points technically in the state of New York. I have 3 transactions in New York since 2018, and everything else is Connecticut, which is not what I expected originally when getting the license, but it's what happened.
But once you get a license through reciprocity, that's a license that's good. Even if the New York license, even if you stopped renewing your New York license, you still would have been licensed in Connecticut. And you could have used that. You could have taken our courses to get the Connecticut broker's license.
See, I called and spoke to someone and they said, no, I had to, because that's my primary, I had to go through New York and then reciprocate in Connecticut, because that's where I got my original license. I would have had to, I don't remember if they said I would have had to retake the salesperson exam in Connecticut if I wanted to change my primary over. But because my primary license is New York, that is where I had to do my broker. And maybe if I let my New York go, it would have defaulted to, but having both still active, I was told by Connecticut that I had to go get my broker's license in New York before I could have it in Connecticut.
No, that's not the way it works.
Do you know who you spoke to?
I can go back in my records and see if I documented that, but I know I called a board, because I don't belong to a board in Connecticut. I called a board and then they referred me to the Connecticut licensing. And I talked to somebody in Connecticut licensing. I'll have to go back in my records and see, but I would have never gone through New York. I would have just done it in Connecticut. And I even told another agent that is in Connecticut and New York as well. And I said, why are you taking the broker exam in Connecticut? Your primary license is also New York. And he goes, well, I don't know. I might have just done it for nothing. And I never reached back out to him, but he did the same thing originally. And I was like, I was told I have to go to New York and do it because that's where my primary is.
Will New York even grant you a broker's license? Do you have enough transactions?
And that's the piece of the information I don't have right now, because I put it on hold. Because when I was filling out the application, I went, oh my gosh, I don't have points in New York. I have them combined, New York and Connecticut, well over combined, but not just New York. So I said, let me find out from the board, the commissioner of Connecticut first, what I need to do before I start, going down this whole road. Because truthfully, like I was saying, I don't need the broker license in New York. I've over all these years, I've done how many transactions? Like, it's like, why?
But you do need it to get Connecticut right now.
And that's where I wanted to find out from you guys, if this is required and there's no other way around it, I will go down that road. But after speaking to who I spoke to about presenting to you guys, I said, let me get all the details first before I start running down 7 rabbit holes, you know?
And what does she need to do to make Connecticut her primary salesperson license? You know, take it away from New York and make Connecticut.
We don't have primary like that. Once you get a license through reciprocity, it is good, even if you let that other state lapse. So, I mean, I don't know where you got that information, because that's not something we,
So I could have done
We've
the
ever
broker
done.
license in Connecticut and not have done it in New York.
Right.
Ay. And it's not like it was because that was online and this wasn't, because it is online in Connecticut now, or when I took it last year. So that was like no, you know, reason for it or anything. It's just what I was told. Okay. So I guess the solution here is to, I guess at this point, find out if New York will even grant me a broker's license, and then I have to pay all those extra fees there, because it's the only way for me to get it in, and then do a non-reciprocity by also taking the exam again in, well, not again, but taking another exam in Connecticut as well. So that's my option. What if I decide not to do, I guess here's my next question to you. Would you guys be willing, would Connecticut be willing to accept the education in New York as long as I take the test in Connecticut, and not do the New York broker? What if they say I don't have the points and they won't take all of my points from Connecticut as well? Will you accept the education to go in and take, will you accept the 70 something hours I did on the CE shop for the education and allow me to go take the Connecticut broker exam and just be brokered in Connecticut?
She would still have to take law, correct? Connecticut law
you
course.
you would need the law course if you had a current broker license in another state. That's what non-reciprocal is.
Okay.
So you're asking to waive our pre-licensing requirements and take New York. But do you meet the requirements for Connecticut?
I would be shocked if I didn't. I'd have to look to double check, because with reciprocity, I guess I didn't look clearly enough at that. But I've probably had about 29 transactions at least, at the minimum, just off the top of my head. And I know I have the years, because that's 2019 to now, right?
Yeah, that's correct. That's 4 years.
What about the P&P?
We have a 30 hours broker. It's like, it's 2 15-hour electives and a 30-hour. I don't know, I gotta pull it up in front of me, but so you would have, well, because you're already a salesperson here, you would need 15 hours of brokerage principles and practices, 15 hours of legal compliance, and then you could either do 2 15-hour electives or 1 30-hour appraisal, or document 20 transactions in the last 5 years.
So the transactions I have.
The transaction could come, so you could actually take 30 hours of courses if you have the transactions and you've been actively engaged for the last 3 years and you have 1,500 hours that your broker is willing to sign off on, your supervising broker. So you really have, 2 15-hour broker courses.
So another 30 hours.
But if she's changed around to a couple of different brokers, I mean, how does that 1,500 hours work? how are they gonna certify that? If she's worked for several brokers? Jill,
Well, that she hasn't really, because she's
I
only,
just
you're
changed.
not with Round Town. You would have to go back to the Keller Williams and have that broker, you know, and there is something in place where if you didn't have a great relationship when you left, we do have something in place where they do have to give you credit for what time you've done. And if you've done that many transactions, I would assume you've got 1,500 hours in.
Oh, 100%. I definitely have the 1,500 hours. I'm not sure I don't per se have an issue with the broker, but personally, but there's definitely some issues with where I went to that have caused some problems. It's not me personally, it was my decision.
Well, as far as we're concerned here, you're still with Keller Williams.
I
So,
know.
and
Not
that
believe-
broker, I don't know if they're aware of it, but that's where you are. So you're currently with them. So you either do a transfer form straight away and move, or maybe continue with them until you get this squared away. Have you done any business for the new company?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, I think you need a transfer form right away.
Yeah, I have to figure out what happened there.
I think not to get any deeper in here right now, I think we should probably make a motion to table this and come back to us after you trying to get it all back together again. And if need be, propose something, if you know what you gotta do, anyhow,
Okay.
right?
Okay. But I think really what it comes down to is I have to do the transfer form, get that squared away, because that's a little hiccup here. But it would require 30 hours. If I decided not to follow through with the New York one, it would require an additional 30 hours of education and an exam and a signature on the 1,500 hours.
It would be, yes, and then also you would be taking both portions of the exam because you're not a broker in New York.
Right.
So it's not just, you would be like any other salesperson in the state of Connecticut moving up from a salesperson to a broker. I mean, I can email you what you need. I can email you the transfer form.
Yes, if you wouldn't mind doing that, I would appreciate that.
When the meeting's over, I will do that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Right now is, you've got to get that transfer form ASAP.
I'm shocked by that. I honestly am. So I will take care of that right away. I'm not sure what happened.
I'm looking for a motion
A
to,
motion to table.
okay, second,
Second?
discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're gonna table this on it and maybe never come back, though. We don't know how you're gonna present this back to the DCP. All right?
Thank you for your help.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wish you the best. Okay, actually, I was gonna talk to Ryan Burns. He's not here today, so we're gonna just skip that. I did talk to him anyhow regarding his earnest money, what's going on with the contracts. You should have got a copy of who did. What was the confusing part, the 3 days? So it has nothing to really do with DCP. It's the way the board contracts are written. And my feelings on that, it's some of the sellers are now with the market, I think, tightening a little bit. They're gonna find this, but they'll be looking for that deposit. It's not like, let's throw this house back on the market and I'll get another 10 buyers on it. So I'm looking a little further deeper on this thing, so I'll see what's gonna happen. Okay, discuss submission requirements for elective CE course credit. I'm not sure what that meant.
I'll hop on here now. So as we've seen, we don't really have a very formal process for submitting our continuing education for the licensees to submit their continuing education credits for equivalency credit. So I was working with Jason and we were trying to come up with a process that's a little bit more streamlined. We took some inspiration from the waiver request process. So let me pull up the proposed form. Okay, if everyone can see.
I think that's the form that was sent to us, yeah?
Yes, I sent it over as well. So the idea is just to kind of create a form that kind of gives us all the information that we're looking for when you guys do your reviews. Something that I noticed that when I made this now and thought about it after the fact, I think I want to add in that they include how many hours they're looking for as well, because I didn't have that on here before. But I just wanted to get this out there, kind of see what your guys' thoughts were, if there's anything that you guys want to change to this or add to it. That's where we're at.
This is great.
So the idea would be then over here in the attachments, they would be able to upload their certificates, all the syllabi, any teaching materials, anything that they can include would all be here. Then it would all just be one form.
I mean, it even says syllabus. It has everything that we discussed. Does it say certificates? Yes,
So
it says certificates.
completion.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, great. So if everyone's kind of happy with that, I obviously I want to update the websites, the CE pages on the DCP page, to have this information kind of update, make sure that it's all the right information everywhere. So those FAQs will be updated to not say just the course certificate. We'll make sure it's a little bit more clear.
One other question. It says approved, denied. Should we have a third column, approved, denied, continued?
Sure, we could add in something like that, something like tables.
I don't know if we want that. I'm just asking the question if we should have it. Yeah.
Is that going to confuse the issue? What do you mean, would it continue? What's your
So
explanation?
sometimes we do have to continue it because we need more information. So that's neither approved nor denied. How do we disposition that? Or is it not dispositioned until it's approved or denied? I don't know the answer.
Lack of information, maybe?
Tabled?
I don't know about tables. How about lack of it? I don't know if they'll understand what that means. The lack of information. If it's not, everything is not completed. Just a suggestion.
Yeah, so we could put in, like you said, maybe a tabled. Usually that would get tabled if we're waiting on something further. So I could put in like a tabled section.
Incomplete. We want to make sure we don't use any jargon that's confusing. It is incomplete acceptable.
I think that could work. Like we could do incomplete application and just put in more information down here on the notes as to what they need to provide further. My only worry is I would need Jay to sign. I'd have to double check with him, is just if it's tabled, this form would still, we would want this submission to remain active. If I do anything after, it would almost complete it. So that would be my only concern. I would say
then in
maybe
the end, this is the final disposition, and the final disposition is either approved or denied. So then the thing to do is to leave it.
yeah. And then if it is a situation where we need more information, it's one thing to reach out to individuals in this situation versus, a list of 15 in that sense. So if there's something like that, I could certainly post meeting, reach back out to the requestee with whatever you guys are requesting they provide.
Well, this should be
How
done
about
before.
to a date certain?
I'm sorry, what was that?
That it's still open. Or is that too technical?
No, I'm sorry. So we're trying to, do you want to add in a section for approved, like a cycle approved? Because I have the continuing education cycle, oops, sorry, up top here for kind of the request of which cycle they're requesting a waiver for, or equivalency for, sorry. So I'm not sure which, was there a further date that you'd like to add in? I wasn't sure what.
The main thing is that, as you can see, is that the application really has to be reviewed closer to DCP before it gets to us. So there's very little or any questions that we have. Everything is here or not here. That would help us tremendously. Did you follow me?
Right. So, I mean, like, I know that we ran into some issues today with some things, you know, obviously some things were outside of dates and things, so it's not really in review, like licensing when they were actually licensed to see when that applied. We can review it a little bit further, but again, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't send over an application that has just a course certificate. I would then reach out to them to request further documentation, or else it wouldn't even get sent to you guys in the first place. I guess my only worry is then if you have further questions when you do your review during the board meetings or the commission meetings, that, you know, this would still remain pending until you got that further information.
Should we use approved, denied, and pending?
How about
Well, like I was
further
saying before,
information?
right. So as I was saying before, is that this document, if once you make a decision on it, it will close out the document. It's completed in the system. So if I were to put it as pending or requesting further information, they would need to almost resubmit a whole nother form like this. So I could just leave it as approved and denied. And if we do run into a situation where you do need further information, I would just reach out to the requestee individually and get that further information and just add it on for the next commission meeting. Or I can see if there's a way to kind of avoid keep it active without actually closing out the file, but be able to provide that update of requesting more information. But I think the best bet would be to leave it either approved or denied, and that's their final decision. That way that's their notification. And then we put in the notes as to what the decision was down in the notes. And then if they're not providing the correct information, then we deny it at that point and with a request to provide further information. And then that goes in the form, and then they resubmit when they have the additional documents.
So if it's denied because of such, and then you'd be submitting that back to the applicant?
Correct. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Either whatever decision is made, the applicant will get the completed form. So when it's completed, that's when I would go in and put in your guys' decision. So if you were to approve it, I would mark it approved, and then that would complete the form, and then that would send to the requester. Same thing with denied. If I hit it denied, it'd finish out the form. So if I added in the pending, it would still complete the form, which wouldn't allow them to go back in and provide additional documentation. They'd have to email it to me regardless. So I guess it'd be your choice if you want this to be a notification or just be the final, this is approved or denied. And if there's anything pending, they just won't get a notification through this form until we have an actual approval or denial.
But why would we deny it when we're actually talking about tabling it? And tabling it leaves it open.
Well, here's the other thing too. I was thinking, you know, the time 3 months or 4 months, whatever the time the next meeting would be. Things could change in that application because of that.
Right.
They make a new application.
Right. I mean, I know people do submit multiple times anyway, so it is kind of filtering out.
It may be best, as she said, maybe it's best to have a new application. If we deny it, come back with a new application with the proper information in it.
Right. Yeah, so that would be a choice that you guys could do. If
What
it would
makes-
be up to, it'd be how you guys would want to handle it moving forward. If you want to.
Does it make it easier for that? For you?
Either, yeah, it would be either way. It would still be a step to take after the meeting regardless. So either it's all automated through the DocuSign program that we use for this type of situation, or it would be me emailing them requesting additional documentation. But this form would definitely kind of help keep everything streamlined and a little bit more automated, and that makes sure everyone gets the notifications that they need to. And it's more individualized. So we would have all your notes as to why it was denied or anything like that would all be put into the notes here. So then they would get that notification that's a little bit more clearer than the minutes itself.
Again, it's as long as it's, the application is screened, that most of this information before it even gets to us is taken care of. You can see we had a lot of questions today. But we had a lot of bugs we had to work out.
Right. Yeah. So we don't have a really formalized process. So that's kind of what the goal is here for this. So.
Great. Any other questions? All right. I guess that's it for the meeting. All right, so if you don't have any more questions or anything new in business, then we'll adjourn the meeting.
See you guys soon.
Thank you, everybody.
Happy
Bye,
holidays, everybody.
everybody. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Ben.
Bye, everyone. Happy holidays.
Same. Thank you.